I've ever said to God, I know that I'm called to this, but how do I actually scale to six figures? And this channel is for you. Welcome to the Glow Room. I'm Beverly Wathour. I am a business strategist for established Christian female coaches and service providers for coaches. And I'm also the founder of BCW Candle Boutique. And so I built my coaching business to multiple six figures. And now I'm building this candle business to a six-figure brand. And I am taking you with me every step of the way. So you want to make sure that every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you know that we are going to drop a new episode in what I call the Glow Up series. And so with the Glow Up series, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing to scale my candle brand. I'm going to show you real numbers, vending events, wholesale, retail pitches. I'm going to show you the templates, the emails, marketing and content strategies, all the behind the scenes, like everything that we're working on. I'm going to show you what's working, what's not, the wins, the misses, the highs and the lows, all of those things. So make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and hit the bell notification so that you do not miss a single episode. And so now, let me know in the comments, what type of business do you have? Is it a product-based business? Let me know what type of product-based business you have. Let me know where in the world you are tuning in from as well. I want to connect with y'all. And so this is why I want to share, like, why am I sharing this journey? And so there was actually a comment made to me. I was doing my first vending event, and I was talking to the person about the number of sales that I made at the vending event. And the person was like, well, that's a hobby. And, just discounted the candles that we sold before that event. And so for me, when I heard that, I'm like, well, God did not call this business a hobby. And so for me, it actually made me think about the fact that I have not put as much effort into the candle business or into my candle business as I did my coaching business. Not that I neglected it, but and I'm going to actually talk to you guys about all the numbers and everything when it comes to the vending event. That's actually going to be the next video for next week. So you definitely want to make sure that you tune in so you can hear about the highs and the lows of that. And the fact that we set a sales goal that we did not hit. And so definitely make sure that you join us next Thursday so you can hear all about the vending event. Okay. And so, so that was one of the things, like the comment about that. I want to share what this process is like, to build a six-figure business. And so, I could do it after the fact, but I thought that it would actually be real powerful, to do it in the midst of. So, I know people like, here's, your six figures in one day, after they've actually done it. But once again, I want to bring you along on this journey so that you can actually see what it looks like. And, I'm going to show you the unfiltered version. It's going to be the work in progress version. Even with this right here, like if you look at the intro video that I did, and, there's a reason why you see those pinks on the side of both of the intro videos, because even with YouTube, like this is not my social media platform that I'm used to. And so I'm learning this. And so I'm showing you all of this stuff in real time because I want you to see, as business owners, sometimes we feel like things have to look a certain way or be a certain way before we can do a thing. And I'll prayerfully, this is going to encourage you to start even when you feel like you aren't ready or that you don't have all the pieces together. And so that you can see that you can literally start and then perfect it as you go. So like I said, with those intro videos, and I told you, I'm going to be transparent. So with those intro videos, the reason why you have the pinks on the side was I didn't know on YouTube that you weren't supposed to have your phone turned vertically. I didn't know it was supposed to be horizontal. I didn't know. And so I recorded those two intro videos using my phone and it was vertical. And then when I loaded them, they loaded as shorts. And I'm like, well, what's going on? It was longer than 60 seconds and all of that stuff. And so when I realized, well, wait a minute, I recorded it wrong. And because of the orientation, that it automatically just, uploaded it as a short. And I did not want that. So I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to do to fix it? And so literally went into Canva, had the background, added those pieces, and boom, then YouTube, read it as a regular video because I made it look like it was done horizontally. So I'm just telling you, I just want to show you that once again, things do not have to be perfect. And so, and I'm going to share all of those things, like the mess ups and all of that stuff. So that you can see that this process, like I said, this process and this journey, like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. But I truly believe that if God has given you an idea for a product or service, and it's needed in the marketplace. And so once again, get that thing on out there and watch what happens. And so I always say I'm going to always have my notes because I want to make sure that one, I stay on track because I can talk. And I also want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So I'm definitely going to be referring to my notes so that I can make sure that I keep everything, as streamlined as possible. And like I said, I just want you guys to know that it does not have to be perfect. Once again, put it out there and then perfect it as you go. Okay. And so now let's go ahead and dive on in. So once again, I am the owner of BCW Candle Boutique. And right now we have five candles that are in our line. So, you'll see my different candles on here. And we are also working on an entrepreneur line collection, which will have 3 cents in there. And so I'm going to talk to you guys about that process and testing and launching and all of that stuff. So that's going to be a part of the glow up series. So you're going to see that happen as we're doing it. So I'm telling you, it's going to be all different types of content, but also let me know in the comments, what type of content you want to see as well. And I am more than happy to share those things with you. Just let me know. And I will definitely make sure that I share. Once again, these candles, we use 100% soy wax because, it's just a cleaner burn, less toxins are emitted, and it's biodegradable, better for you, better for the environment. And, once again, there'll be videos where I'm literally showing you how we're making the candles, all of those things. So like I said, you don't want to miss any of this. Also with soy wax, it burns 30 to 50% longer. Our candles actually burn for 40 plus hours. So once again, you're not going through every, 2 weeks and buying new candles. These will last you for a while. Okay. So now let's go ahead and dive on in. Once again, laying the foundation for building this 6-figure candle brand. And as I noted, I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen so you can see the numbers, see the platforms, all, the behind the scenes, all of those things. And so I want to talk to you guys about where we currently are and how we even got into this space right now. So right now we have sold over 100 candles. We launched in December. And so I'm going to actually show you the numbers and things like that. So we launched in December, and the platform that I use is Shopify. And, we started off with pre-sales. So with pre-sales, we sold 18 candles in the pre-sale, which thank God, because it allowed for me to be able to test out the process when it comes to shipping. And so at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of experience with shipping physical products. Once again, I'm a business coach, so a lot of what I do is digital and virtual and stuff like that. So the only experience that I had with physical products were my planners. So I have 2 planners. I have the Coach's Profit Planner, and I also have the Entrepreneur Profit Planner. And so when I did the pre-sales for those, I did have to ship those out myself. So that did give me some experience with shipping. But now with those profit planners, the company that prints the profit planners also ships them. So I don't have to worry about that stuff. So when it came to the candles, I did the pre-sale. One reason was to help me to be able to practice when it came to shipping and being able to take those orders and things like that. Now, in the testing phase, we did test shipping to make sure, as you can see, we have glass jars. So I want to make sure that the glass, doesn't break in the process, that we have enough protection in the boxes and things like that. So with the pre-sales, once again, we had 18 candles that we shipped out during pre-sale. And so that did allow for me to be able to test all of that and get a handle on making them and all of those things like that. So we did 18 with the pre-sales. Now I'm going to show you how many, and then offline. So I have the ability to be able to make sales and stuff like that offline. And so Shopify doesn't always track the offline sales, just depending upon how I have them keyed in. And so we've done 10, what I call like in-person sales. And once again, those were not tracked with my Shopify. So I have to track those separately. And then now I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see the Shopify. So once again, like I said, I'm going to share my screen, share the numbers, all of that stuff like that so you can see it in real time. So give me a moment. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what my back end looks like for Shopify so you can see how many online sales that we made since December. Okay, so as I noted, we use Shopify. And so this is the back end of my Shopify showing the total sales for the products that we sold online. So once again, like I said, we did the pre-sales, which is not tracked in Shopify. And then some of my in-person, they're not tracked with Shopify. So as you can see here, once again, I'm showing you my numbers. We sold 75 since December online. And so as you can see the gross sales here. Once again, I'm sharing all the numbers here. So with the online, we did 1,500. With the pre-sales, we did 270, and then with the offline, we've done $200 in sales. And so it also shows you like our best sellers and things like that. So you can see this part here. And like I said, as we do this glow up series, I'm going to show you different aspects of it. I'm going to show you, like I said, behind the scenes. You're going to see all of those things. So like I said, I'm going to be very transparent. Okay. And so, we've done a total of about $1,970 in sales with the candles. Okay. And so we've sold a total of about 103 candles. So we sold over 100 candles since we've done the launch. And so the main source that we have been doing that, and once again, even Shopify will tell you and show you like for the online sales, like the different sources and the platforms. So for me, mainly Facebook has been my main source of sales, my email list. And so those have been the main sources of it. And, with that, so I know the power of social media. So the advantage that I have, is with my background as a business strategist, like I know how to leverage social media, especially when it comes to the services. Now, the product base is a little bit different of how I position the content, which I'm still, learning effectively how to position the products, but that has been working. And so, when we launched, we was shipping 5 to 10 candles a week. Now, some of you guys are calculating like, wait a minute, there from December to this time right here, that should be way more than 100 candles. But let me tell you what happened. So, like I said, we were doing the 5 to 10, shipping 5 to 10 candles a week, and then at the end of January, so I order my products, I order them. And the company that I ordered them from, which is actually some of the products that I order, which are my wax and my jars, I get from a local company here in Georgia just because of shipping. And so that supply company is 25 minutes from my house. And at the end of January, they ran out of the jars that I use. I was like, whoa, I don't have that issue when it comes to me coaching in the virtual and the digital products. I don't have to worry about running out of anything. And so, that was one of the first hurdles and obstacles that we had was at the end of January. So if you actually go back through and you look at my social media and stuff like that, you will notice that we slowed down on promoting the candles because at that point I had like 12 jars left or something like that. And so for me, because the company is so close to where I live, when I place my order within 48 hours, it's ready for me to pick up. So, when I got down to my last box, that's when I usually will order. And when I went online and saw that they were out, I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, okay, I need to slow down on promoting because, I don't have the jars. And so I slowed down on the promotion of the candles and I called the company and they were like, hey, it's going to be 2 weeks when we get them back in. I'm like, okay, cool. So like I said, I just slowed down on this, on the promotion of it. And, waiting on the 2 weeks. The 2 weeks rolled by. I'm checking the website. I'm calling back up there. You're like, yeah, we were supposed to get them 2 weeks ago. Now they're telling us the middle of March, and I'm like, oh. And so once again, so from January to the middle of March, all I had was 12 jars. And so once again, and they ended up getting the supplies back in the middle of March, like they said, but it was initially only supposed to be 2 weeks. And so a part of that for me, we took a hit because when I stopped promoting actively the candle sales, like it hasn't rebounded. So once again, when you look at where we started off really strong. We had repeat customers and all of that stuff. And then once again, when they ran out of jars, I can't make candles without jars. And so, like I said, we did take a hit with that. So that was one of the things. And like I said, we have not rebounded because once I got the jars back in stock, then got the jars back in stock. And then I started to prep for the first vending event that we had, which once again, if you want to see everything when it comes to that vending event, you want to make sure that you tune in next week. Once again, the new videos will drop every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to go all in talking about that vending event. And so, in my mind, and I'm going to also talk to you guys about mindset things and stuff like that. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I need enough, make sure that I have enough product for the vending event, and I don't want to have too much product. So I even slowed down promoting again because I wanted to make sure that I had enough of the product for the vending event. And I'm like, I don't want to make this stuff and sell the ones that I have for the vending event. And then, so yeah, it was a whole nother mindset thing for me. And, during that week, the week before the vending event, when I tell you, I was making candles in the morning, coaching clients in the afternoon and coaching clients in the evening like that. I really felt the fact that I was running two different businesses at that time, like that really felt like that. So, like I said, I'm going to share all of those things. And so, for me, another mindset thing that I had to overcome was, being in that space of feeling the fact that I do run two different businesses. And so, like I said, so that's one thing that I'm being very transparent about is that we haven't rebounded back to where we were when it comes to the candle sales. But now that now that I've kind of gotten the hang of how to do the vending and how to calculate the product and all that stuff like that, now we're revving back up to be able to now go back and get back to the space that we were in when it comes to our candle sales. So like I said, I'm going to always be transparent and let you guys know where we are. So like I said, with that we did take a hit with that, and we haven't fully rebounded back from that yet. So I wanted to share with you guys, how many candles we sold at this point, and then how we were doing those sales. So like I said, for us, our social media and email is a powerful tool for us. And so, that's where we are with the sales of the candles and those things like that, of where we are. And like I said, being able to leverage social media, being able to leverage our email list, some of the in-person things, being able to do that. So those things have been powerful. Also, just kind of want to share with you guys some current numbers where we are right now at the time of this recording. So just some of the stats, like our email list currently right now, we have about 50 people on our email list. YouTube right now, at the time of this recording, I think we have like 32 subscribers. Once again, I'm sharing with you guys in real time because all of this stuff, we're going to build all of this stuff. You watch what I say. Our Instagram, we have about 144 followers. On Facebook, we have about 209. TikTok, we have 53. Pinterest, we have 1. And I'm the person. I'm the one. So from my BCW Candle page, I'm following it from my regular Pinterest page. And so we have a whole Pinterest strategy for that. So you guys, literally, we're gonna drop videos and content about our social media strategy and what that's going to look like on the different platforms, because different platforms require different strategies. So tell me, once again, let me know in the comments which platform you want me to see and show. And I'll show you all of those. And like I said, the behind the scenes and what's working for us and what's not working, all of those things. We're going to be very transparent, just like I was about my numbers, very transparent about that. Okay. And so that's where we currently are right now with the business when it comes to the number of candles, the revenue that we've generated, where we are with our social media, vending events. So we've done one vending event at the time of this recording, and then we have 2 more in the books. And so for me, just being able to kind of get a feel of that. So if you want to know more and hear more about the vending events, definitely make sure that you check out next week's video. Once again, new videos drop in what we call the Glow series. So right now we're in the Glow Room. So this is what the channel is called, the Glow Room. And then each week when we drop the content, it's called the Glow Up series, so that you can actually see the glow up for BCW Candle Boutique. And so, so that's where we currently are. And now I want to share with you guys like where we're going and the steps that we're going to take this business from where we are right now with the numbers that we show, of how much we generated so far, about $2,000. I'm going to take from that and literally create a 6-figure business. I'm telling you, I'm telling you the steps that we're going to take, what it is that we're going to do, and you guys are going to join us in real time. Okay. And so that's where we are. And so now we're going to talk about where we're going and how we're going to get there. And so with that, so I'm going to actually share with you guys, like, the documentation and the process and stuff like that we're going to do to get us to that goal. I'm going to share with you what's working and some things we had to scrap already, if we just got started. So the first thing I do want to share with you was at the end of 2024, we set some goals. And so I'm going to share with you what those goals are so you can actually see them. And then we're going to talk about, why we had to scrap it and, where we're going now and even some of the things now that we had to scrap. And that's going to be a thing, like it's a work in progress. So I'm going to share some stuff. And then the next video, I may come back and say, hey, we went ahead and scrapped that already, but once again, I want to share this stuff with you in real time. So I'm going to share that information with you now. So if you follow me on Facebook, then you have seen this right here. So I've been posting this on Facebook showing, this is at the end of 2024, the goals that we came up with for 2025 for the business. So we said, we would have our candles in 3 retail stores, partner with at least 5 real estate agents so that we can get them in their welcome packages that they have for their clients, attend at least 10 vending events, attend at least 10 networking events, sell at least 100 candles a month, versus where we are right now. And then partner with at least 5 brands that have those self-care boxes, because once again, these complement those self-care boxes, especially like peace and joy, love, like those types of things. So being able to partner with them. But as I said, when we set these goals at the end of 2025, by the time we got to about February, God was like, go bigger. And I'm like, well, God, we don't even have any jars. How about go bigger? So now I'm going to show you what the go bigger looks like from what we had here. I'm going to now show you what the go bigger looks like. Okay, so what I'm showing you now is our 40K dashboard. So this right here is what we're looking at when it comes to the hitting the six figures. Now, this right here is based on hitting six figures in 2025. And so we're going to talk about how this, we had to end up tweaking this right here, even this right here. But this is just some of the things like I'm going to show you what we did. And so we were talking about selling like 300 candles a month, the 300 retail stores, like breakdown of the numbers and stuff like that, the real estate partnership, the self-care boxes, the vending events, online orders and things like that. And then this was the breakdown, like social media, what we were going to do, following up with leads, the vendor collaboration, giveaways and promotions, our monthly goals, our weekly content planner and things like that. So this is what we had initially had. And this is a really aggressive goal for the rest of 2025. And so actually what we ended up doing, we had to pause that because there were some things on here like we didn't take into consideration like wholesale and stuff like that. And that's definitely something that we want to get into. Okay. And so what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna tweak that dashboard. So I'll share the new dashboard in some of the other videos because, like I said, we didn't take into consideration like wholesale. And then when we looked at the number about the number of candles, making in a month like 400. So there are actually some other ways that we can do that and some other ideas that we came up with when it comes to different ways to bring in revenue in the business. And so we can actually, we're aggressively looking at doing six figures in 2025, but also knowing that, it doesn't have to be in this year, but we're definitely going to hit that. And so, I wanted to share with you that dashboard that was created so that you can kind of see like aggressively what that looks like. And it's a beautiful thing. So, like I said, you definitely want to make sure that you tune in on Thursdays at 12 p.m. when we drop the video, so you can kind of see what it is and how it is that we're doing these things. And so, as we wrap this video up here, I want to share some of the mindset things that I dealt with during this process. And so for me, one of the things was, like I said, having both businesses, the coaching business and the candle business, it can definitely, I feel it at times. And so the way that I have my coaching schedule set up, I coach my clients on Tuesdays through Thursdays, and then my Mondays and my Fridays are my admin days, which it kind of now is where my my Mondays and my Fridays are now kind of like the candle days, working with the candles and things like that. So definitely that part we have gotten better when it came to the shipping, as far as trying to figure out how to do the shipping and when to do the shipping, all that stuff like that. So we got that worked out. And another mindset thing that I am currently in the midst of, and like I said, I'm being transparent. In my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, what happens if we go viral? Like if we put a video out there on TikTok or, a reel out there and it goes viral, and I'm like, and we don't have the product, to be able to keep up with the demand. And then of course that can become like a customer service thing, and people, blasting you on like, hey, they don't have this, and they stay, sold out and all that stuff like that. So that's certainly something that mindset wise that I'm dealing with. And, sometimes when I find myself not promoting actively, especially on those two platforms, TikTok and Instagram, I know that that's that mindset part, trickling back in. And I have to deal with that, in that fact of knowing, hey, it's going to get taken care of. If we go viral, we're going to be able to handle that, like that type of thing. So I want to be transparent about that, when it comes to that. And, once again, that is certainly something that I still, am dealing with. And so y'all keep me in prayer about that part right there. Okay. And so you guys, like I said, this is where we currently are right now. And, when it comes to BCW Candle Boutique. So I want you guys to kind of see in this video where we are. So when you look back a month from now and 6 months from now and a year from now, you're like, oh my goodness, look at how much growth you've experienced. And, prayerfully, this will help others on their journey, when it comes to their business. So those of you, if you have a product, or if you're looking to grow a brand, and if you're just like, hey, babe, I'm just here for the ride. I want to be nosy. I want to be inquisitive and see what's going on. All of you guys are welcome here. As we noted, the next video that we're going to do is going to be about our first vending event, what I did to prepare for it, what I learned from that, what I'm going to do differently for the upcoming, the two upcoming vending events that we have, the sales tech issues that we had, and the surprises and all of that good stuff like that. So you definitely want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button. You want to make sure that you also tap on that bell notification so that you know when the next videos drop for that. And so, you guys, once again, this is the Glow Room, and the series that we're doing is called the Glow Up. So you can see us glow up, candles, glow, light, all of that stuff. And once again, we are building this candle brand to six figures, flame by flame. So once again, let me know in the comments what type of content you want to see. If you have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comments, because this is where we're going to have the conversation. This is where we're showing all of this. It's only going to be here on YouTube where we're showing all of this. And so, like I said, we're going to show all of that, all of the behind the scenes and all of that stuff like that. And so, you guys, I'm super excited. Like I said, make sure you leave your questions, your comments, all of that stuff. When I tell you, I read all of them and I respond to as many of them as I can. And so, once again, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining us on this one. Make sure that once again, you check out the next video, because once again, it's going to be about the vending events. If you have not checked out the intro videos, make sure you check out the intro videos. And now that I share with you why those little things on the little sides were pink, now you know why. You can see that. But like I said, even with something like that, while I'm learning this platform, once again, I could have easily deleted it, but I was like, no, I want to use that even as an example, from those two videos, that once again, you just figure it out as you go. And because if you delete it or wait until it's perfect or all that stuff like that, you'll never get it done. So once again, done, what is that? Done is better than perfect. I don't even know the saying, but you know what I mean. But once again, just go ahead and join us. Once again, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you know of others that are on a journey similar to this, either building their business or even they love candles or even a product business. Send them over here. Tell them to go ahead and join us each week on this right here. So you guys, thank you so much. I'm super excited, and as always, keep glowing and keep growing. I will see you next Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys take care. And once again, thank you for joining us here in the Glow Room.